Welcome everybody to another fresh new episode of the Freedom Mastery podcast. Today with me is a very special guest, somebody who I met long time ago, I would say, and somebody who's coming from a very generous, humble background, somebody who's very giving, honest, a genuine person. It's hard to meet people in the industry who are not faking anything. And this person is definitely a person of their word, not faking anything. They can prove that what they do, they can do it over and over and over again. And that's what I appreciate this person for. So Joe Edwards is with me today. Joe, kick it off. Tell people who you are, what you do, and we can start the show with just a big kickoff.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm Joe and I sell drugs. No, I'm joking. I'm Joe. I've been in property for a really long time now, probably coming up to 6 years. I met Camille back in, I think it's like 2021,
I think so,
something like
yes.
that. We met when we both invested in ourselves, jumped on some training programs, and that's where we met, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, been in property for like 6 or so years. Started off getting properties myself, but we'll dive into this shortly. Got some properties myself and then went forward, progressed, did more training, scaled, and then started a training and mentoring business. I think it's about 3 years ago now. So yeah, that's kind of a very quick sum up of me. I'm sure you'll learn a lot about me during this podcast. So yeah, hand it back over to you, dude.
No, absolutely. I love the introduction. I mean, I'm gonna definitely keep the bit about the drugs. So if anybody wants to contact me about the drugs, they can contact me about that as well. I love it. I love it. One of the reasons why I thought it would be great to sort of invite you into my podcast is, I never invited somebody who's doing exactly what I do. Like I'm coaching and mentoring in rent-to-rent space, and you do exactly the same thing. And rather than looking and perceiving ourselves like as a competition, I think we should be always like, working together because the market is a big place, the
Yeah.
marketplace, rather than just splitting it between us. Why don't we just combine strengths? Because you might have something interesting, I might have something interesting, and all together just creates a nice space for people, right? And I thought, other than that, you might have something interesting to share about your insights and your inputs into the market. And that would be the question number one. Like, I really want to know what triggered you and how did you actually start in property when you first thought, Joe, property is the game for me. Like, I want to start doing it.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I'll rewind a little bit more past that. I've always been quite entrepreneurial. When I was in school, I always said I'll be a millionaire by the time I'm 30, which by the way, I'm 29 now, so I've got a year. Not even a year, I've got like 7, 8 months. That's crazy. Um, and so I went to college, left college. I ended up getting an apprenticeship in a pharmacy, and within 12 months of doing that apprenticeship, I was running the pharmacy to the point where the owners of the pharmacy said, I can't afford to pay you anymore. However, if you come up with a business idea, I'll invest in you. So I thought, perfect, let's do that. So I ended up opening a cafe in Prestwich, Manchester, if anyone knows the area. And I did really, really well. We turned a profit in the first year, which was fantastic. However, me and the investors, we had completely different ideas of how we wanted to run it. They wanted to run it kind of like a bit of a all there's loads of sandwich fillers. You come in and say, I want this, 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 this. Here's your sandwich. See you later. Where we opened it, there's a massive gap for like really clean, healthy food where people can come in, sit down, have something really nice to eat. And that's kind of what we made. I brought a chef in from a restaurant. So we had like restaurant quality food at cafe prices. So it's a lot cheap. There was no deep fat fryer. Everything was air fried, which at the time, so we're going back to like 2017-ish, which at the time is like nobody really had air fryers back then. And everything was cooked to order, so nothing was just kind of sat there. So really fresh, really healthy, and yeah, we turned a profit in the first year. However, they still wanted it their way, I still wanted it my way. Ended up butting heads a little bit, and then we left. So I've always been quite entrepreneurial, and I then started just got like a part-time job. I was running basketball leagues for kids on the weekends, which is really cool. Big into basketball, I like that, and I just stumbled. I think very similar to how everybody gets into property. You stumble across a few YouTube videos, go, oh, this sounds interesting. And then I realized that everything out of them videos I could kind of recite back, like just instantly. I'd be like, it all just went in and stayed in. I thought, oh, maybe this is something I'm quite interested in. And then from there, I got some training, got myself a rent mentor, and yeah, the rest is history. It just kind of stuck into me. So to answer your question, YouTube got me into property, I guess.
Amazing. I think this will be a very common start for many people when they
Yeah.
start watching the YouTube videos. They will accidentally bump into something, maybe even an ad from the ad, they can just click on somebody. They will say, "Oh, they I kind of make more money in property, and property kind of does make money for many, many people. Should I know more about it?" And they start digging deeper. And the more you dig, the more willing you are to actually take the first step into the property.
Yeah.
And what I like about the property is that everybody can do it regardless of what their lifestyle is right now. Because you might be a very busy person, you might be completely unemployed. Regardless of where you are in property, you can start doing it. Of course, what helps is to have some capital available. It definitely helps. However, we don't need to have like 100K sitting in your bank account in order to start property. You know, we talk about much less than that if you want to start. You don't even have to buy properties. Rent to rent is obviously the strategy that helps a lot of people, or even deal sourcing. That's a strategy where you can start with probably less than 1K, isn't it? Like, I'm not a specialist in sourcing. I never position myself as an expert in sourcing, but you are definitely, you're sourcing deals actively, so that's great. So I think apart from compliance, there isn't anything else that you have to purchase, right? And I think compliance you can get for less than 1K, isn't it? Or there or thereabouts.
It's yeah, I think for the whole shebang, you're probably looking at about £1,300.
1,300. Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, comparing to like buying property, which would cost you probably minimum 30K, just an absolute minimum 25% deposit plus the stamp duties and
exactly.
conveyancing, you know, having 1K or 2K in your bank account is something that everybody can afford. If you cannot afford like having like 1K or 2K in your bank account, then you must change your job in the first place. And your
Exactly.
mindset. And your
And
mindset.
it goes down to, if you do things right and you get compliant to deal source and your first deal makes that money back. Even if you
Yeah.
co-source your first deal and get 50% of the source fee, it still pays off your compliance and gives you £200-300 cash in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like, where else can you do this? That deal sourcing is such a fantastic business. There's so many people, I'm sure we'll get into this, who are doing it so wrong, who are selling leads and not deals. And listen, I've got 25 viewings on Monday at 12 o'clock, and none of them stack as deals. Like a 4-bed rent to rent HMO, and it's £6,000 rent. I'm like, what are you doing? That doesn't work. So you just got to make sure you do things right, do things ethically, and you can definitely have a business whilst doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That kind of brings me to the next question because I want to understand how you started. Now we know how you started, right? What was the next step? And once you kind of got yourself mentored, tell me a little bit more about your rent deal and maybe about your first sourcing deal.
Awesome. Yeah. So when I started, so the videos I was watching online was these big companies, this, that, the rest, and I naively thought they're the big dogs. I won't be able to afford them. I didn't even look how much the courses were. So I went on Facebook and I found myself a rent-to-rent mentor, and I can't remember how much I paid. To be honest with you, it's a long time ago. I want to say maybe £2,000 for a rent-to-rent HMO mentoring.
Specialist. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just rent-to-rent HMO. That's all we did. And then off the back of that, I was ringing properties up, finding potential deals, but they needed. So for me, and this is me specific, everyone's got their own opinions. I like properties that are pretty much ready to go. I don't have to do loads of work. There's not like a big refurb that needs to happen. I like them pretty much ready to go. Furnished or unfurnished doesn't really matter, but I like them where they're pretty much ready. I don't want to sit around and do loads of work to a property. So I was finding deals, but most of the ones I found needed a lot of work doing. I thought this isn't for me. I don't want to spend another £3,000-4,000 doing it up before I can then rent it out. I don't really have that capital right now. So, I was young. I was just starting in property. I don't have all that money. So someone I played basketball with found out that he'd recently done some property training, was getting into property. Bear in mind, he spent £26,000 on property training
Oh wow.
from one, yeah, just from one company,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I know a few people have done it with them. It's not good training. £26,000. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, I met up with him and we were just kind of conversing. Anyway, we found some deals online, and so we bought our first deals, and it was two HMOs, two apartments. It was a 4-bed and a 3-bed apartment. So typically 3 beds don't work as HMOs. However, because they kind of came together, it was like a 7-bed overall. That's how we looked at it, and that's how we worked it out. Um, and yeah, it works really well. We've still got them to today. My business partner did end up leaving the business. So everything went through his business at the time because I didn't have anything set up. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. So all went through his business, and they were in his business for about a year or 2 years. Then he ended up moving back where he's from, and just was like, I've had enough of it all. I want to give you back. This was a mid-COVID time, and there's a reason for this. We took on an essay that was just a joke. I'll tell you about that shortly. But we took these two HMOs on it, we paid for. So I think it's a £4,000 sourcing fee at the time, obviously split two ways. But they're making about £1,000 profit a month. And I've still got them now to this day making £1,000 profit. We've had them for 5, 6
Amazing.
years. Fantastic, right? That's what is
Please,
well
yes,
worth a
please.
£4,000 sourcing fee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fantastic. And
yeah.
this is why I always tell people come in and go, "Oh, we teach people how to do it. How can you expect them to pay a sourcing fee?" I'm like, I don't expect anyone to pay a sourcing fee. However, don't put your ego in front of yourself and say, I am not paying for a deal. Especially if it's the first one. There's nothing wrong with buying a deals because if you can afford it, it's a step into the industry. You can walk in there, you've got a deal. It's then experience to get other deals. You've got proof of concept that you can then go to other landlords or other estate agents and say, I'm doing it already. This is what I've done. That £3,000 debt could definitely be worth that, especially if the landlord has numerous properties. If they like what you're doing, you spent £3,000, you could get up to, well, not up to 10 deals, but 10 deals plus from that if that landlord's got loads of other properties. They're going to want to work with you. So, sometimes you've got to take your ego out of it. Yes, you know what you're doing. Yes, you've been trained up. Yes, you know how to find them. But if there's a good deal, sometimes it's worth that sourcing fee just for the good deal.
Hey there, I'm getting inquiries from people asking for help with their rent-to-rent business in order to start or grow it to 6 figures in profit. The best way to get hold of me is to text me on 075 22 571 026. That's 075 22 571 026. I will get back to you as soon as I can and I'll help you with whatever you need. Now let's get back to the video.
Because if, like me, if you can have it for 5, 6 years plus and still be making £1,000 a month profit, come on.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely. No brainer, isn't it? Of course, at that
Exactly.
time you didn't know that it's going to be with you for like 5, 6 years. Now you know it, and you wouldn't regret, you don't regret. Absolutely, I agree with you. I think the only problem right now we've got that, and you already mentioned it, that there are so many deal sourcers who are like generating leads. They're not
Yeah.
providing deals. So I think the skill that we need to master is actually to learn how to distinguish a bad deal from a good deal. And regardless of whether you're going to use a deal sourcer or not, it's very advisable. It's a very smart thing to learn the strategy anyway. If you're
Yeah.
going to do rent to rent, absolutely learn how to do rent to rent because nobody will be able to pull the wool over your eyes. Simple as that. And it doesn't hurt to have the right skills and then get somebody to provide you the deal. I agree. But if you're capable and you can find your own deals. That's what I'm a big advocate of finding your own deals.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, however, with finding the deals of the deal sourcer. Just make sure that you know exactly that the deal sourcer is not a scammer. He's not providing you with some fake numbers. And if you don't like something, just skip it, go to the next one. That's what I would say.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been scammed by a deal sourcer, and that was what I was just kind of talking about then. We took on a rent to service accommodation in Reading city centre. It was fantastic. It was a 3-bedroom masonette. I think the rent was like £1,300 a month. Like, should have just made so much money. However, the company we bought it from sold it with management. Now, this was our first ever service accommodation, and I told them that. I said, listen, I'm putting all my trust into you because I've done no training. I don't really know service accommodation. However, I do know I want to get into it. And they were like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. And then they was just sending me bill after bill for like furnishings and furniture. And I'm like, but it's already in the property. Why are you charging me for something that's already there? And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take that off. And I'm thinking, if you're so happy to take off things, why are you putting on effort? Like, it was already there. You're trying to just get more money out of me for nothing, kind of thing. So already I was a bit like, sounds a bit scammy, but we went with it. And yeah, it was just an absolute nightmare. It was pumping in, so I think altogether it's like £2,000 for rent and bills. Like, we were putting that in every single month because it just wasn't make. It was having like 1 or 2 bookings here and there. Then the big straw came like 6 months later, where we got a 30-day booking, and I was like, yes, it came through. It was like £8,000. I thought, this is amazing. Finally, we're going to recoup some money. And then the day before that guest was meant to check in, the booking changed to somebody with the same name, the same email address, same information. However, it went from £8,000 to like £1,200, the booking. And I was like, what's just happened here? So it went from I think it's a booking.com booking to a direct booking. And I thought, this isn't right. So I'm messaging them. I'm like, what's happening here? How can we be 100% occupied and still be losing money? Like, what are you doing? And they said, oh, that person cancelled. So we had to just get someone else in last minute. I'm like, but it's all got the same information. It's just gone from a booking.com booking to a direct booking. It's all the same person. No, it's a different person. Blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, like, Fine. Send me the booking.com, first of all, the booking confirmation, then the cancellation confirmation from what they sent, and then send me the direct booking confirmation. Like send me to, we can't do that. We can't send you that. Why can't you send me that? Oh no, we can't send you that. That's just in-house policy. We can't send you that information. So then after a bit of back and forth, I obviously is what I'm sure you're thinking is I pointed the finger at them and I said, I think you've taken that money. You've just converted that on another account or something like that, and then just added something in. So you're taking like £7,000 off me, first of all, and you're then charging me 15% on that £1,200. No, no, better back and forth. And then it was someone in the office messaged me and said, I've told all the staff to ignore your emails. You're being very childish. This is the end of our relationship. Bye bye. Hang on a minute. You just took like £8,000 from me. You're going to say that after taking money off me for the last 6 months as well? Are you mad? So, yeah, make sure you know what you're doing before you buy deals from deal sources. That is, I've been stung by it. And this is why I'm so passionate. I mean, Camille, you've probably seen some of my rants about deal sources online. And it comes from a place of I've been scammed. And this is why I don't want anyone else to go through this. And it's such a passionate topic for me. I just really want to make sure that nobody's buying into these scams. There's so many scammers out there. I'll make sure all our mentees send us their deals. If they're going to buy them or if they found them, send us it all. First of all, let us run your numbers. Let us double check that it works. Because the last thing I want is for you to take something on and be losing money every month. Like, oh, yeah, like I did.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And I think this is the power of this mentorship thing because we've been through this all. Like I didn't deal with deal sourcers before, so I was not scammed. However, I see what other people are going through. I don't want my clients, my mentees to go through the same avenue. And even if they take on a deal, absolutely, I say the same thing. Send me the deal. Tell me about every little detail, like who's the person, how have you seen the property, what's the deposit, like can we negotiate more? Because very often something is like cheesy and smelly, especially if there is additional party introduced to the deal, which in this case was a property manager. If you manage the property yourself, then you kind of are responsible for generating your bookings, etc., and you're dealing with it all. If there is a manager, there is another link in the whole deal, and yeah, with managers, 8 times out of 10, I heard negative stories. So learn the walk, like learn how to walk before you start running. If you're thinking about starting a business with using management companies to begin with, first of all, get your hands dirty, manage the property yourself, learn the skill, learn the industry, and then issue it out to other people because then it's going to be so much harder for other people to pull the wool over your eyes. Again, do the thing first before you issue it out to other people. That's what I would
100%.
say.
I couldn't agree anymore. And I just wanted to give like a hot kind of tip out there to people who are still kind of new in this industry.
Yeah.
And it's if you're going to buy a deal, that's fine, you can do it. But if they sell it with management and they say you have to use our management or you can't take the deal, just walk away. It's a massive red
Mhm.
flag for me because what you'll find is they'll inflate the numbers so that they can sell the deal and then they're getting a reoccurring revenue every single month. Like 9 times out of 10, that's typical what it is. And if you're in a position where you're new, you're quite vulnerable, just walk away to say that's not for me. I'd like to self-manage because as I said, 9 times out of 10, they're pulling the wool over your eyes. And hey, 9 times out of 10, deal sources do inflate the numbers. Like I see it all the time. I'm looking at them going, that is not going to make that money. I saw some videos the other day from this trainer, this big trainer. You'll know who it is, Camille. And it was putting up their property in, there's one in Cardiff and one somewhere else. And it's like a 1 bed apartment. It's like, how much is the rent? It's like 1,500 quid. How much is this going to make you every single month? It's going to make me about 2.3 thousand pounds. I'm like, it's a 1 bed in Cardiff. It's not making that money. What are you doing? But then they're promoting this to other people because it sounds good. You get shiny penny syndrome. And I'm like, it's just not making that money. I can tell you right now, without even looking at numbers, it is not making that money.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, and unfortunately, people still fall on those things. We all are responsible for our decisions. So if you are like starting fresh, think about how can you minimize risks rather than just show like falling into this like shiny penny syndrome, as you
Yeah.
say. I absolutely agree with you. But okay, we've touched base on some negative stuff, which is obviously part of the property. Hey, I really don't mind talking about this because people are, in my opinion, are not talking about this well, like
Yeah.
enough. I want to talk about something positive for a change. Tell me, the property game played out quite well for you, so we can talk a little bit about your achievements and also how it impacted your life, like what lifestyle it actually created for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I touched briefly on it before. I was working part time when I got into property. And then I took on these HMOs and they were bringing in £1,000 a month. All right, as a JV, I was making about £500 a month from them and I was working part time. So that extra £500 a month, I was like, I don't need to work. Like some people, especially back then in 2019, I think it was, people are like, £500 extra a month is decent. Like anyone would take that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I was earning good money from that. I had a couple of side hustles. I still do. I always have little side hustles going on. And I was making good money. So I was working part time, going out to eat lunch every day, just going out with my friends. I wasn't like working 9 to 5 all the time. I was just really enjoying life. And I thought, yes, I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor. Just got one deal and I'm like, yeah. And that's kind of how it started for me. And then we just scaled and pushed forward. Again, COVID hit, took on that unit in COVID, which is a bit of a naff one, took on a couple more at the end of COVID, thinking COVID's going to be finished soon. It went on for a bit longer, so we lost a bit of money on them. However, we've still got them now, and they're still making money for us, which is good. We've kind of stuck them out. So yeah, just kind of push forward. The lifestyle it's created is just freedom, flexible freedom, and what I've come to understand for me, what success is for me, isn't millions in the bank. It's time. It's to have the time. All right, have enough money as well to do what you want, but more specifically when you want. That for me is what I've found success is. So we were talking obviously briefly off pod about potentially moving countries and things like that, and it's just having that freedom to do that. Nothing changes. To give a bit of insight to the people watching, we were speaking about not being, geographically restricted, not being geo-restricted to a particular area. What we've both found is when we've gone on holiday, we're still running the business. We're still replying to mentees. We're still checking on properties, chatting with cleaners, maybe taking deals on, blah, blah, blah. Nothing changes. So why am I in this country? Like, why not go somewhere where I actually want to be, somewhere sunny, somewhere warm, and really enjoy life? Like, yeah, so the lifestyle is crazy. It's completely changed. But I'd love to hear from you as well, what you think your life's changed and what maybe where it could have gone compared to where it's gone now you're in property.
Yeah, amazing. And absolutely, what you say is absolutely critical because yes, money freedom is great, but if you don't have time to enjoy the money, I think this is a lot, many times entrepreneurs just fall into this trap. They could generate a lot of income, but they really don't have time to enjoy that income. For me, you say that you always had this entrepreneurial kind of mindset and you always wanted to do business. For me, for many years, I thought I'm going to be like employed for years to come until I'm pretty much dead. And this is because my mom and dad, they always worked hard. They created this kind of middle class style, which seems like when you're young, it seems like yes, we've got everything we need, so that's okay. The problem is that you have to go to work every single day, and
Yeah.
you don't have a choice. So I thought it's going to be like that forever until I came to the UK, and my mindset started shifting. And then I started creating this new lifestyle. When I started doing property, for me, the shift was about yes, creating the freedom. Obviously, this is the logo behind me. Freedom Mastery is created to create freedom in life, and freedom can be created through time and money. And then you can do things that you choose to do rather than you have to do for somebody else. So for me, it was definitely about quitting my full-time job, doing rent to rent at the beginning very actively, which was one of my mistakes because for many months like when I started, I was doing everything by myself. Um, Later on, I decided, no, this is not why I started the business, and I started systemizing it and creating this portfolio of, at that point, I think about 42 units.
Nice.
Um, and that was just like I was still like active in it, but not as active. And I was like, okay, now people start asking those questions. I can start teaching people how to do it. Although at the beginning it was never part of my plan, and I created my own mentoring program, and that started giving me like fulfillment. Same thing like yourself. Came to a conclusion that I can do all of this without me being on the ground. And the first holiday when I was already kind of established in rent to rent, when I started my mentoring program, I went on my sort of first holiday and I was thinking it's going to be 1 week. It's going to be so tough and things will just fall apart, and I was thinking a lot
Yeah.
of that. And I came back after 1 week. Nothing fell apart. Everything was under control. All I had to do was just to spend maybe half an hour on my emails and coordinating things if something was happening. But most of those days, it was just me checking if everything is okay, which it was. And on the top of that, I remember my first ever client, my first ever mentee, rang me when I was on holiday, and she said that she just secured a deal. It was absolutely fantastic. So I'm
Wow.
like, okay, I can be away. People can still secure deals. I can still help people being abroad. My rent-to-rent business is still running. Hey, geographical freedom is what I wanted, and I cracked that system that gives me exactly what I always wanted. So now I can say freely and with my heart on my hand on my heart, saying that rent to rent can set you free if you're looking for freedom, whether that's about time, whether that's about money, whatever that might be. So that's me. That's a little bit of my story, and I appreciate what you said. Mm, I want to go back to one thing because actually you made me thinking about the negative stuff, which is always part of the property, part of the business. You mentioned this negative deal, like this bad deal. What would you say to people who are afraid that something might not work? Like, should they be afraid of it? What would be your advice to those people?
Yeah, it's very easy to say don't be afraid of it, but I understand it can be very scary. It's fear of the unknown, not knowing what can happen. And I think that all comes from not being educated, you know.
Yeah,
You don't know it because you've not learned it. And that's fair enough. And look, like I always tell even my mentees and anyone else who I speak to, there's always so much you can learn on a training program. It can be as in-depth as it is, but you can't possibly cover every little topic, like what to do if the washing machine breaks. Like you're not gonna go for, you know what I mean? There's so many little nuances that are going to be specific to each property. You need to not only do the training, but it's the boots on the ground. It's on the job learning, what I like to
yeah,
call it to my mentees. You just need to get involved and start doing it. Yes, things are going to happen. Yes, there's going to be risks, but the best things in life are on the other side of fear. You know, it's a very popular quote. You need to just get out there and do it. If you want this life for yourself, do it. And do it, especially if you've got a mentor by your side. They will advise you, yes, do it. No, don't do it. And you just got to trust the process, go and do it, and go and make some money. It's an amazing business. You can make some really good money in it, but you can also lose a lot of money if you don't invest in the right ways. And we see this a lot, typically, with people who do YouTube videos, or not sorry, do YouTube, watch YouTube videos and think they can go and do it. Or maybe they do a 1 day course for £1 and think they can go and make loads of money. You really need to dive into your education. I can promise you right now, you're not even scratching the surface with the training with that stuff. There's a reason why people put free stuff out and then also charge thousands for the training. They are not giving you everything. Just think about it like that for a second and make sure you invest in yourself, because the money you're going to put in yourself, you will save tenfold if you try doing it yourself. If you try to go out and find some properties, take it on yourself, chances are, if you've not done any education, you're not going to secure it properly. You're probably not going to tell them, I'm going to turn this into an Airbnb. You're probably just going to say, can I rent your property, and then do it illegally, subletting, all this sort of stuff. No one's got the right permissions. The head lease might not allow it. The mortgage might not allow it. You're just going to spend £5,000 on all the furniture. 3 months later, they say, yeah, you can't do this anymore. You're going to lose a lot more money than what you would if you just bought a training package with really good mentoring. So investing in yourself is the biggest thing, but do it. You know, investing is scary. Like you'd say with any investing, whether it's stocks, shares, crypto, property, anything, only invest what you can afford to lose. You know, the chance are if you've got a really good mentor there, you won't be losing that money. However, it'll dip down because you've got to spend that money to train, to take properties on, blah, blah, blah. But if you do it properly, that should be a safe investment.
absolutely. And I absolutely support it because every time I invested money in my training and I invested like tens of thousands of pounds in my education and training, and I still do, I still have a mentor. Every time I invested money, it always comes back to me. It's kind of like sending a signal to the universe saying that, hey, I'm spending that money now, I want to receive more. And I don't know why, but it kind of works because if you invest in yourself,
100%.
that money will come back to you. And isn't that about like what life is about? Like investing in yourself. You are the biggest asset for yourself and for your family. Grow yourself, create this lifestyle that you want, and you will only do that by growing your skills. Like you cannot expect that something will change if you don't grow your skills. You have to become somebody new in order to generate new outcome. 100%. And I would say on top of what you say, which is spot on, invest in yourself. I would say don't be afraid to scale as well, because a true story is I spoke to somebody recently who's like thinking about starting or scaling rent-to-rent business. They already have like 3 or 4 properties. They want to scale 1 or 2 more because this is their happy spot. This is where they want to be. They said they want to just get some more mentoring and coaching in order to acquire those new properties. My question was that, okay, you want to get to the sweet spot. What's going to happen if in 6 or 12 months' time they'll lose the deal? Maybe they'll give it up. Maybe the landlord will claim it back. What's going to happen is they'll drop again. So you want to get to the sweet spot, and that's great, but don't think about it as the only the kind of like a final solution for your business. In my opinion, if you want to be safe in your business, you always have to think about growing. Because when you grow enough, you think in a bigger scale, you dream bigger, then all of a sudden your business will not bite you back. But if you're thinking about starting a business just to get like maybe 1 or 2 deals to generate like 1K or maybe 1500 a month, that's what you need. This will be kind of risky because if you get to 15K, sorry, 1.5K a month, and then you will lose a deal or two, then all of a sudden you're kind of starting from scratch. You're buggered. So I would say think bigger, don't be afraid, and even if one deal sort of plays out negative, you still have some other deals in the background that still sort of generate you good enough income. And you've got the skill set anyway, so why not to just go bigger?
Exactly. No, you're exactly right there. And what I'd like to add on to the side of that is the more you grow and the more you scale, you can then afford to take on deals that aren't as good. So for instance, I don't obviously know what you teach, Camille, but we teach only take on properties that earn at least £500 profit, especially on the HMO side. SA obviously it can fluctuate. Um, but when you're going 10 plus properties, you can take on the ones that are earning £300 a month. Because if you've got 10 properties earning £200 a month, that's still £2,000 a month coming in. But you need to make sure you've got the backup there for if there's a void or if there's this, if there's that, you've still got your portfolio. So the more you scale, it's a lot easier then to scale because you can, as I said, you can take on properties that aren't actually as good as the original ones, but you need to start off with a solid foundation and get ones that are genuinely going to make you really good money to keep reinvesting. But then, yeah, you can scale up quite easily from there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. We all have to have some form of benchmarks, and for me, benchmark is absolutely £500 is that sweet spot I
Yeah.
found. Because if we don't have that benchmark and we don't sort of put a little bit of a number there, people might be just thinking, oh, but what this landlord wants, and I'm going to be making £400. Well, if it works for people, that's great, but we need to have like a solid number, and we sort of just have to say stick to it. Otherwise, it's not. We need to define clearly good deal, bad deal.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So yeah, I love what you say, and I was just wondering, like, you touch base on that geographical freedom that you're going to be moving countries. I'm going to be moving countries as well. So what your business will look like after you move to another country?
Exactly the same. And that's the beauty of it,
I
you
love
know?
it.
That's the beauty
I
of it.
love it.
So if anyone doesn't know, I'm going to be moving to the UAE, Abu Dhabi, probably around January time. And they're 3 hours ahead, so it's not even that bad, which always surprises me. It's so far away, and I always feel like, it's 3 hours doesn't seem right. It's like you go for like a void as you get there, like a time hole or something. I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, they're always 3 hours ahead. Obviously, I've got a business partner, Debbie, who is absolutely fantastic, and that's kind of like the beauty of how we do things. There's always two of us, so if one of us is busy, one of us at the doctor's or doing something, like there's always somebody else there who can help you. So nothing's going to change. If anything, it'll make it slightly easier. Debbie's up early anyway. She's got a young daughter, so she's up. School runs like 5 a.m. And I'm usually up quite late. And this is why we say we have a 24-hour service, because I'm usually up really late and she's up really early. So it kind of works both ways. It's perfect. And with them being 3 hours ahead, again, that kind of adds into that. So nothing's going to change. I'm still going to come back periodically. The only thing that would be harder is, I guess, doing viewings for properties. However, there's ways around that. There's viewing companies. Debbie's still here, even. Even mentees would do viewings for us. Like, we got such a nice community where mentees would be like, oh, I'll go do for you. And I'll give them some money for it. Absolutely. But it's just about having that community, having that support. In terms of the day-to-day business, nothing's going to change. We're still going to be managing properties. We're still, because none of our service accommodations are closer than 2 hours away. It's like the closest one's 2 hours away. So it's like, if I'm 2 hours away, why can't I be 7 hours on a flight away? Like, nothing's changed because I'm not going down there. And this is the big thing about working on your business or working in your business. And a lot of people say, well, I want it close to me so I can go in, I can go do this. And a lady came on our Zoom the other week and was talking about this. It's 20 minutes away from her house. She went in that property 5 times this week just to check on things. And I'm like, there you go. You've been in that property 5 times when you've got a cleaner who can do it all for you. That So let's say you've been there for half an hour each time. That's 2.5 hours. You could have spent maybe finding another deal or something like that. But instead, you're going there just to look around. You're working in your business at this point, not on your business. Pay someone to do that. You go focus on something else. And it's about them little lessons that you learn. So yeah, so moving abroad, for me, nothing's really going to change. In a business standpoint, I am thinking about starting a couple of new businesses, which I'm really excited about out there. But in terms of this, yeah, literally nothing's going to change. We're still going to scale, we're still going to grow, still going to teach people. Everything's online, so it's perfect. So nothing's going to change. What about yourself?
Same here, same here. Like my plan is to move to Spain, as we spoke before the show. Um, Nothing's going to change. In all fairness, it's going to give me probably even more time because
Yeah,
I'm going to be like less active on doing things physically. I'll rely more on, even more on my resources, meaning that it's going to release more of my time.
yeah.
And I will probably be like energized because there's going to be more sun. I'm going to have full energy, full battery, so I can just dedicate that energy to other people as well. So hey, nothing changes, and I think this is how you would define your freedom. That's how you start business. That's how you gain that geographical freedom. Live and not die. I would say.
Exactly that. And you know what's funny that you're talking about that with the vitamin D and all that, like you just feel better and more energized. Debbie always says, so every time I go on holiday, Debbie's like, she likes to wind me up every now and again. She's like, oh, Joe's on holiday again, like in the chat with all the mentees. But she always says as well that I work better when I'm on holiday. For whatever reason, I don't know how this happens, Kim. I don't plan it. For whatever reason, when I go on holiday, someone sends me a deal that tends to be a good deal, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. Let me sell it, and I'll sell it for them. I'm on holiday. I'm securing £3,000. All right, be a co-source. I'll split it. But I'm sat on the beach making £1,500. Like, come on, it's so good. You just feel good. You feel happy. You're just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, it's great. It's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. I just made 1,500. Let's go and grab some margarita. Boom, boom,
There
boom.
you go.
No,
It's
I
too
I
easy.
think this is absolutely great. And when you actually make money whilst you're on holiday,
Mm,
the endorphins at that time, you're so happy, you feel so productive. You don't have to be on the ground in order to make money, especially for somebody like me. When I always had this background that I have to be employed, I have to be on the ground. I used to work in manufacturing plants, so I had to be like specifically in one place. And all of a sudden, I don't have to be attached by the virtual chain to the machine in order to make some money. So yeah, I understand 100% what you're saying. I want you, Joe, to like for a while now imagine this person who's listening to this podcast and thinking maybe this person is young, maybe this person is a little bit like lost because they know they want to do something more in their life, but they just don't know what to do next. What will be the next step? They are a little bit overwhelmed. And if you were to say something directly to this person, dreaming of something more in their life, looking for that extra fulfillment, looking for this freedom, what would be your number one step for them, like number one tip for them so they can start gaining the momentum? Because the problem they have right now, they are like stuck. They are like they're not moving. Step number one, and we always do things to simplify things for other people, right? As mentors.
yeah.
What would be your number one step for those people to gain the momentum and start pushing the needle for them?
I'm gonna pull it back off my experience and just YouTube. Go on YouTube, figure out what it is you like. It's quite cliche to say, find something you're passionate about. And you know what? I've been there. I've been young. I've been, no money in the bank, this, that, the rest. And it's so easy for you to say that. And I get that. But it's so true. I understood property was a passion of mine. And there might be a reason why you think that, oh, it's so easy for you to say that because you've not found it yet. But trust me, when you find it, you go, this is cool. This is exciting. And we're in a world right now where you can make money off anything, literally anything, by using your phone. So get out there, find something you find interesting. And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 tutorials on how to make money from that one thing, again, online for free. Once you understand it and you go, you know what, this is still something I want to pursue, then you can dive into maybe a training package, a mentoring package, someone who's doing it so you can copy and paste what they've done. And that's the best way to do. So start on YouTube or TikTok or wherever. If there's something that you find really interesting, just start learning a bit more about it. And if you're still interested, then invest in yourself on that.
Yeah, that's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant advice. If I was younger, I would definitely listen to it because first of all, you need to sort of plant the seed, and planting the seed would be a YouTube video. It could be maybe an article that would trigger you, whatever that is. Wherever you're looking for something, just put focus on it, and the answer will come, isn't it? And that YouTube video might just be a beginning of something beautiful in somebody's life. 100% what you say is I agree with. And I would just add on top of it that even if you think that property is a great thing or maybe something else, never think that money is a holding back factor. Like if you think that, yeah, I would love to do it, everything is great, but I just haven't got money to start. I would say there are ways. There are ways to raise finance. There are ways to JV with people. But first of all, develop in yourself this desire that you want to do it, and you will find a way to kick it off one way or another. A prime example of that would be one of my recent clients, or actually two of them. They came to me, young students. As we all know, students don't have plenty of money. They work part-time just to have for their basic spendings. They wanted it so badly that they found ways to actually spend money on the mentoring program, and they still do it. Like they are active on it, because they haven't got nothing to lose. They are in such a great position because they know that they have to make this work, and they
Yeah.
found a way. There are always like payment plans, there are always other things that you can do to help you. But bloody hell, do it for yourself and do not allow money to stop you, because if it's just about money, there are ways.
100% there's ways. And it's like anything, I think I did a status or a video or something the other week talking about this. And it's all about mindset. If you say, I can't afford it, you've already quit. You won't do it.
Yeah.
But if you ask yourself, how can I afford it? There's always a way. You can borrow some money off somebody, you can take another job and save up, you can do whatever it takes. You can do it. It's just an excuse that you're giving yourself because maybe you don't actually want it realistically. You think you do, but you don't. Um,
Mhm.
Something else I wanted to touch on there was something that you said, and it's something I tell a lot to my mentees and people coming on our Zooms. And the universe, right, has a really, really weird way, and I don't understand how it does it. I really don't. I'm not selling anything or whatever, but the universe is a very weird way of rewarding people who take action. And I'm sure you've noticed it yourself. You take action and then something happens, like something amazing. Either it works out or maybe that one doesn't quite work out, but another opportunity presents itself that's like a million times better. Like just take action and I promise you, you will be rewarded for taking that action. Like I've seen it a million and one times from everybody. You've got to take action and you will be rewarded.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into the whole universe thing because I don't know how it works, but definitely
Neither do I.
I tried both. I tried to work against the universe and I tried to work with the universe. Every time when I was going against the universe, I lost. I felt bad, I felt overwhelmed, I felt I'm not winning, I'm not progressing. Whereas if I'm going with the universe, things are going my way. Not always, but it's always going to be moving forward, progressing forward. So, yeah, 100%, I agree with you. Joe, I really, really appreciate you visiting the Freedom Mastery podcast. I Your wisdom is great. Like you mentioned that you're only 29. However, you've already got like so much experience. You're already doing great things. Before the age of 30, or maybe at that time you will be just past 30, but you're moving to another country. So you're just a living example of, starting with nothing, but then in 5, 10 years time, you will generate the life, or you can generate life of your dreams right now. First of all, just get inspired, get things going. Tell me, like, if somebody wanted to touch base with you, like contact you, what would be the best way to contact you?
Yeah, thanks for that, Camille. Thanks for having me as well. It's been absolutely fantastic having this conversation with you. So, best way to contact me, you can follow me on Instagram, just at Joe Edwards Property, or you can find me on Facebook, Joe Edwards. I'm very active. I'll always reply to people, unless you're sitting here saying I can scale your business and blah blah blah, and you're selling me something that I don't really want. I'm happy to converse with you and have that conversation. You know what I'm talking about,
Of
Camille. You get them
course,
all the
of
time.
course.
I can guarantee you 57 different clients in the next day. Okay, cool. So yeah, more than happy to have a conversation with you, jump on the phone with you. Ultimately, I am massively passionate about just helping people because I've been stung too many times in this world and I just want to help people. So more than happy to jump on a phone call with you and maybe give you a bit of direction where you want to go. Obviously, we have paid courses and things like that as well. So if you want to jump on them, fantastic. So does Camille. So I'm sure he'll be able to help you with that as well. But if you want to just reach out, Joe Edwards Property on Instagram, you should be able to find me there and that'd be absolutely fantastic to have a conversation with you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Joe. Once
Thank you.
again, thank you for coming. Thank you for being with me today. And thank you for sharing your great wisdom. And without further ado, I wish you all the best with moving to Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. You
Enjoy
too,
the
buddy.
sun, enjoy the warm. Like, it's going to be crazy. Definitely make
Yeah.
sure you take umbrella with you, because umbrella, as it stands, does not just have to protect you from the rain. It can also protect you from the sun, and get a lot of sun cream there as well.
Definitely. No, I really appreciate that, mate. Best of luck with your move. Obviously, we'll still be in contact, so I
Absolutely.
look forward to hearing how it goes. Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me on.
You take care. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, you too, buddy. Take care.